Oh,
Good morning, everyone. Today we will be looking at rendering and testing. I would like to start today with a little theory of how rendering works, what rendering is. In the GitHub links, there was a link that Evan put to explain what rendering is and how the browser renders your HTML and CSS. So, of course, as I just said, what rendering means is taking the HTML, CSS, and also the JavaScript logic, and it goes over those files and outputs what you see in the browser. As you can see here, the basics is, of course, a computer works with bytes, but bytes are not enough to know what you don't see zeros and ones in your screen, of course. You need the HTML and CSS to be rendered. So that means we'll look at what this means in the several steps. So let's skip this. Of the first step, the browser will do is taking those bytes, the zeros and ones, and they will be converted to characters. And as you've the past few weeks, as you've of course learned, HTML is the basic structure of the HTML will be with the tags. So you get the tokens, which are the like a div tag or the other specific, the P, the L, UL, the unordered lists, which are the tokens. So the parser, which is a part of the browser, it will try to understand what you've written and will split up all. It will list all of the elements you've written in the HTML file, and all of those elements will be built up and will be added to the DOM. The DOM is then what you are building. So that's the HTML file transformed into something that the browser understands. Yeah, as I said, so of course it will try to understand what you've written, and it knows there's always a start tag and an end tag, and then it will also start building the hierarchy. You know, last week we looked at the parent and child relationship between elements, which just means you have an element, and inside of that element you have a different one, like you have a div element, and inside of that you have an A element. So the A element is the child of the div element. That's also all taken into account when parsing your HTML. Yes, that's what I said. Yeah, so you have two elements which are children of the base element. Let's see. Okay, and also very important is to know the order in which the browser will start rendering your files. So it will start with taking the HTML and trying to convert the HTML or to parse the HTML into the DOM. And after that, it will take the CSS file and also build something you might not have heard of yet, which is the CSS object model, which is comparable to the domain object model, like the DOM for the HTML. You also have a structure that will be built based on the CSS. Just a small aside, CSS means cascading style sheet. And the word cascading means that by default, if you apply a style to the top element, it will always go to the child elements of that page. So let's say you set the font type of the height of the body elements to bold. All the children elements will take that unless you specifically specify that a specific element has a different font type. Okay. So when we have the DOM and the CSS object model together, those we call the render tree. When you take them both together, you will the browser will know what to do, because then you have the elements that need to be shown, and you also have the styling. So this is just the HTML and CSS that have been parsed and understood by the browser. And that way it will be, the browser will be able to render the page and show what is what you want to be shown. Okay, then doesn't matter. Let's see. Okay, and then the important part is also, of course, our logic. Sometimes you want to have some actions based on the user input, or we want to change how the page looks inside of our JavaScript. The JavaScript will also be executed if you reference it inside of the HTML. Let's see if I get an example. Thought there was one here. Okay, so as you can see here in this example HTML file, in our header, so yeah, this is just a basic HTML file. So the HTML will be split up in a header and in the body. In the body, you put like how the page, all the elements that should be shown in the page. But in the header, you will do some setup, like importing the CSS. So the page knows, or the browser knows, which styles it should apply to your page. And you can also make, you can put a script inside of the header, but normally you would also make a link to a JavaScript file. But as you can see here, this will be executed immediately. And an important part to know is, if you put this here, this will be executed immediately. So JavaScript is something blocking that, if you start, if you run, let's say if you open an HTML document and in the header you have a script, a JavaScript portion, when you get here, it will immediately execute this. So this means the website, the page will will stop rendering the DOM and just start executing the JavaScript. So it's important to notice because the location you put the script might affect the load time of your page, but it also might affect if it works, because maybe the DOM, if the DOM was not ready and rendered yet, the JavaScript references will not work. Let's see. Yeah, so the example we have here is here they put the script in the body, which is I don't like to see, but okay. This example is when this page is run and the script is executed, it's trying to get the header element, and which is of course this one, and then it will console log header is, and then it will output how browser rendering works. As you can see here, or it will output, of course, the entire element, I mean. And the reason is because the script is below the P element. So this will work. It will know the P element because it has been built up in the browser inside of the DOM. But if you look at this one, so you can see the script is now above the P element. And when you execute this page, the header variable is revolved to null. So you can see here, when outputting the same line, you have the console log header is, and the header element will be NLL because the page had not yet reached the P element. So it was not added to the DOM yet, and the header is still NLL. So this is a quite important thing to note, because when making websites, this is, of course, the order of operations is, of course, very important to make it work. Okay. See if there's anything more important. Yeah, so again, as I said, when it reaches some type of script, it will try to get it immediately. So when you reference a JavaScript file in your HTML, it will try to execute it immediately before even before finishing rendering the page. So this means if you reference maybe a JavaScript file that is remote, like you're hosting it on a different server, that means it will try to get that file first, and it will block the loading of the page. So this just means the user will see a blank screen, or maybe some stuff that has already loaded, but not everything will be shown. A way to solve this is, where was I? Yeah, the way to solve this is with an async word. I don't know if everyone is aware what synchronous and asynchronous means. So I will briefly explain it. Synchronous.
That will be the next model. So it's a good introduction.
Okay, a small preview then.
Spoiler alert.
This means synchronous means every task that is happening, every action that is being performed is one after the other. So as in the example here, when getting JavaScript, it will completely block the next step. Until the JavaScript is completely loaded or executed, loaded and executed more, it will not continue with loading the DOM or rendering the DOM. But if you are doing something asynchronously, so async is a keyword here for asynchronously, it means it will do it in parallel. So it is just saying, okay, this file, you can see how it's written here with the async keyword. This file, you can go get it, but please continue in the meanwhile with rendering the page. So it's a parallel execution, and when the async process finishes, so this means when the JavaScript file has been downloaded, at that time it will execute the JavaScript file. So that's quite a lot to take in, maybe, but it's important to think about the order of things, how they happen. Okay, I think that's where I will stop this explanation. Let's try to go to our first exercise. Let's see. So I opened the rendering data project. So yeah, it's a separation of concerns, the rendering data folder, I mean. And the first exercise we will look at is the second one here, a linked thumbnail, separate params. One interesting thing to note is you will have to go to the root folder of the repository, which is a separation of concerns folder. And in there, you have to run the study command, else some references in the files will not work. Which one was it again? I think it was this one. So it's referencing some files in the .lib folder, which you cannot access this way, or you would have to do it like this. But the entire project is set up like this. So the easiest way to make it work is to run the study command from inside this folder, not from inside the rendering data. So if I run study, we go to reverse engineering. No, wait, that's from last week. I mean, rendering data exercises, and I will look at the second one here. So as usual, we open the index.html, and here we see what the exercise will be. The actual is the stuff you guys will need to make. And the expected is what the test inside of the exercise will expect as outcome. So you always have to make the actual equal to the expected, and the expected is what, of course, the expected side you are not allowed to change. You will have to change the actual. So let's go to the code. You see you have two JavaScript files. The expected is what you need to. Yeah, as you can see, this code has been made unreadable. So you don't just copy paste it from expected to actual. But what you need to do is you change the actual JavaScript file. So eventually, you will see in the browser, you will see the same element here on the left as you have on the right. The tests will output a lot of information inside of the console. So every exercise you will need to start by going to the index.html, opening it, and opening the console. Let's see, the first thing we have here. Underscore is not defined at actual. Let's see then. Okay, so we have here a create element, and it's expecting an A tag, which is used for links. And then, okay, let's see. Oh, we have a lot of stuff to fill out. We can go to the, let's see. We have here the expected part. As you can see here, okay, indeed, we need an A element, and it's referencing a specific image. And it also has some styling, which is to the right, which is a reference to a class probably in probably being used inside of the CSS. Okay, I can still open it. Inside of this, we have the image. So the image itself will, of course, have a source, which then shows the actual image. But it also has an alt, which is the name, like the color black. So we need to make sure this exercise gets the correct class name, targets, and href. Let's see. I'm thinking, do we need to? Yeah. So we get it via parameters. So the target will be the. Let's see. The target is blank. Okay. To the right. Which the URL, of course. Let me show you another part, which is maybe interesting. I'm not seeing this. It's in here. No. Yeah, sorry, I'm I'm lost in where the yeah, okay, so it's not working yet because there's too many errors. Let's first fix that. So we have the A element, and inside of that we saw indeed the image element. Let's save this one and refresh first. Not much changed. The div, the A element, image element. And then append child. So we saw the structure. We have the image element inside of the A element. So inside of the A element, we're going to append the image element. So now the image element is a child of the A element. Let's see what happens then. Okay, still underscore is not defined. So which line is it? So the source, we know we want the image. So we get the URL as a parameter. So that's the location of the image. Let's see. Still, the color is and then of course we need the color. See what that does. Aha, so now we get already something better. It's a bit big, but it's showing the image. because we put the link to the image here. Let's see, next. Let's make it a bit bigger. Okay. Okay, so here you can see, this is what I was looking for before. It's showing which tests have already passed, and you can see a lot of them already are okay. But here we have some errors still. So it's expecting the class to be to the right. So yeah, let's copy that from here. And let's see, is it the image or the A tag? Let's check the expected. Yes, so in the expected HTML, you can see the class of the A element needs to be to the right. So then we go to the A element, and here the class name we put to the right. If I save this and refresh, we will see in the A tag now the test succeeds. Okay, let's do the other ones. Let's see, let's read blank. And the class name for the image, which was that's not right. Wait, what? Why is it suddenly empty?
Can you check it on the test? Can we see it on the test?
Yeah.
If it fails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have attribute blank. Oh, that's the only one that's still left. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's save it. So the class name, this class name doesn't matter then, okay. So let's check our tests. And now all the tests are green.
I think we've missed one test. The class name should be, of course, a test case as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that one was missing. Let's see. Do we have some more outputs? Oh, that's the same. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, of course.
There we go.
The
Yeah.
child, because the first child is the A element and the second is the image element. So indeed we have, we see here the class list, the class, yeah, so it's a list of classes, but we only want one class for the image element, which then shall be thumbnail, which should fix everything. So let's run it again. And this one, okay. Now we see indeed every test is green. We also see the image looks exactly the same, so that's what we wanted to achieve. Okay, we can stop the recording.
All right, guys, I want you to realize one thing. I know that we did them quickly in okay, can you see my browser screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I know that we did this in debugger. I don't know to what extent you guys did it individually, the exercise on your own, although we went quickly through all of them. The goal was to make sure that you guys did it alone also. But anyways, if you see in an exercise or a problem anytime inside of code, if you see something that has to manipulate an array, It doesn't matter if it's an array with just strings in it or objects or whatever. I want you guys to have the reflex to at least Google array methods, JavaScript or Mozilla array methods, I don't know. End up on this page, the first page on Mozilla. I like this one because they don't treat you like babies. They actually explain it correctly. And I want you to look inside of these methods. If it's simply a for each, then you click on it and you look at the example, how they do it here. Usually it will be a little more complicated. Maybe it's an array with objects inside of it. Look at filter, look at flat, look at these array methods and really understand them. They are important if we are talking about something more complicated than just simple exercises. But I want to real quickly go over one. I'll go over filter. Imagine you will need to go through an array and filter certain elements outside of it, depending on an attribute. Inside of this example, inside of this example, we have the words inside of an array, and we are filtering all the words with a length bigger than 6, and it gives you this as an output. All right, it's very simple, not complicated, but it's important that at least you have the reflex to know where to look it up. And also, what's important is to understand this structure. I will explain it very quickly and probably will understand, but also you need to understand how to write it yourself and have the reflex to do it yourself without tripping over it. The result is just what we give back the result to it, so this is nothing special. We have words, which is the array, which is this, and we filter through it. Filter or any of these array methods will iterate through every element of the array. All right, it will go to every element, and every element inside of the array, we give it a variable name. In this case, they choose word, but we can call it anything. All right, this is the variable name that we choose. When we go inside of a for loop, remember we give it also our own iteration variable name. So this is exactly the same, only it's written shorter. Okay, so I'll just use anything. So when we iterate to it, we look at spray, which is now anything, and we look if anything dot length is bigger than 6. All right, and it will run and it will still work. So the structure of it is our own given iteration name, the arrow, and then the function here. This is the function that it runs. In case of filter, it will give you a Boolean back. So this is either true or false. What we can also do is look if anything, the dots, I don't know, we can look if the first letter is an S, right? This is a different thing, right? I'm looking to anything which is just a string, and I remember a string is an array of characters. We looked at, we understood that in the debugging module, and we're looking if the first character is S, and then if I run, it should work. Anything dot.
We need to change it to equal.
Equal.
Okay, good. Debugging, nice. We are remembering. Good. All right, and then it will give back spray. So just quickly, because I sometimes see some people tripping over it. It's not that difficult to have the reflex to understand that if we need to filter or edit or do something with an array, that it's something else is just giving it back, meaning anything that's in here, have the reflex to at least look at the array methods. I like this one. I like Mozilla Web Docs. It's really the reference for real programmers and also for beginners, because it doesn't read W3 School is also nice, but this is more, it just explains to you in adult way and understandable way with a simple example without treating you like like children, which is in a lot of cases the case. That's all I wanted to say. Just wanted to make sure that you guys still remember that we did look through every one of these, checked. The only thing, we went through it quickly. And the point of it was to make you guys be able to go through the exercise. But if you didn't, no problem, but at least have the reflex to Google array methods, click on the first link, which is most of the time MDN Mozilla Web Documents, and look at maybe concat entries every, what does fill do, what does filter do, find do. And if you need to do anything that is more complicated than just giving the array back, it will be here and it will be explained in a good way. And also, well, as the last point, understand that this way of writing something, understand what this is, understand that this is the parameter, the name that you give it yourself, and this is a Boolean that it gives back. It has a specific name, an assertion, I think. Yeah. Understand that when it finishes, it returns it in this, and in this case, it's find. Know what filter is. Know what. Maybe even if you want to go deeper into it, look at what map does and reduce. Those are a little bit more complicated. Slice maybe some sort. Those are all interesting things to know. Of course, now in the exercise is quite limited in focus, but later on you will maybe need it, and then hopefully you understand how this is written and what it does and why it's written like this. And that's all. Quite a mouthful, but that's it.
Thank you for that, Yassi. Now we can do the exercise 4
Yes.
from the.
Is there any coach that wants to take this one? Because I'm not really familiar with how to solve that one. Is there anyone that was able to solve the map reduce exercise?
Exercise 4 of repeat a string?
Sorry?
Oh, of which exercise 4? Because I'm not
render.
render.
task.
Okay. I don't think we got to there, but let me just look.
Or if some one of the students can share their screen, and then we can direct them.
If one of the students wants to take the lead, just do it together. Yeah, that's the best way, I think. I can't find it on my local machine, so that's why I'm not doing it. But if any of the students wants to take the lead, and
I can share my screen if that's okay.
Okay, Aviv, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
We will just go through it all together. It's doable. Yeah, don't have the right module here. That's logical.
So
okay.
We have a type error, and I made some attempts here that don't think are correct. But we went back, so I'm going to refresh it now. And this is in the beginning. We've just filled in. So this should be a div. This should be header 3. Here we have a list item. And inside of the list item, there's going to be a link.
Yeah.
It's going to be appended together. Then this part, we are not sure about how, if we have the object here, how to get the href from these keys in the object.
Yeah.
Using this syntax, it's we're not sure about that.
Yeah.
And also we have this other function here that's going to append the second parameter to the first one and return it.
Yeah.
But this line here, 25, is
annoying.
Most disturbing one.
this is where we hit a wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we go up a little bit, Avi? Go
Do we
up
need the
again?
right side, by the way? Can we close that or?
Yeah,
or
the
do we need
index
it?
HTML, the other one,
Yeah.
can you close it?
Thanks.
Yes. Here on line 7, you're getting some kind of an object and you're accessing the parameter over there, right?
Yes.
So that links data is
Yeah. So this would be the topic, all the animals.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
going to
Okay.
be the headline.
So almost the line 13, at least for me, the line 13 and the line 7 has similarities.
Yes.
They both
Yeah.
try to access an object or some kind of.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. We have seen a way to do it, like on line 7 we do it, dots and then the name of the element that we want inside the object. We have also seen how to do it with the brackets.
Yeah.
And then we concluded that it was stupid that it works like that also, but then we ignored it for a long time because it was stupid. But it also works, dots and then the name, but you can also do it with the brackets.
Yeah. It's just a difference of accessing the objects.
Yeah. Let me just see. Essentially, it's just naming the string inside of it. Object, yes. Let me just look at it. What we can do is, yeah. So essentially, it's just inside. You know, the underscore inside of entry. We just instead of doing dot topic, we just put the array topic, for example. So if you remove in data links data the dot topic, you can put next to links data brackets and then topic as an array, as a string inside of it, and it would work the same. You see what I mean? Yeah, so this does exactly this, and then yeah, it has to be with the quotes. So the single quotes inside of the array. Yeah. So just want to say this is exactly the same as what you've written before. So maybe that helps.
Yeah, that helps, but then the href here
Yeah.
should be inside of the links. We have these different categories.
Yeah.
So and they have, each one has their own href. So this part is a little bit more tricky.
So what is the entry? The entry itself, what does it give as a value? So that's the object, links with badgers, cats, and goats, right?
Right.
Which one of those do you want at what's depending on what variable? So you have to think, okay, we have like 3 links that's inside of an object, right?
Right.
What do we get as parameter? Because I see that there's a parameter, for example, links data, I think, if you scroll up. Okay, so that's just the, right?
I have a suspicion that inside of this sub function, the entry to li sub function, the entry the entry parameter might be one entry of the links object.
Yeah,
so
that's correct.
it's the entry is, for example, badgers with the value the URL. So, but then I'm confused. What do we want to set the inner HTML to? Maybe we should so it's not links.
That would be basically your key and value, isn't it?
Yes. So if you scroll down, you see the objects dot and then underscore, right? That's a way to tell. That's if you can Google it, we have seen it, but objects dot key or dot value, there's a difference. There's the key, which would be inside of the links object, for example, would be badgers. That would be the key, and the value would be the link itself. So that's a way to extract the keys, for example. Don't know if that helps you.
It might. So
of an object, you can extract the key and the value depending on what you want.
So if I say object key that will be a kind of iteration that will go through the links, data links.
Yeah. And knowing it's annoying, but maybe let's Google it. Let's look what object.key and value does, because maybe not everyone object.value or something. Just Google it and look at the first link. Maybe it's annoying, guys, but it's good to have this reflex. That's why I'm keeping.
Let's do it on the Mozilla.
Mozilla.
Yeah, so we are in. It doesn't really matter. I prefer Mozilla, but you can choose, of course. Objects dot. Now you have object methods. Yeah, the first. So you have assign, create, and those are cool things, but we are not relevant for us right now. Let's look at keys there, for example, the keys. Under.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
That's keys. That gives you every key inside of an object array. So it will give you ABC, for example. That's keys. And let's look at values.
Values will be something or
The last one.
Hmm.
That will give you the something, the 42 exactly. So it will just give you an array with the value of the keys or the values. So that's on inside of an object with multiple things, by the way. So and if you want to know how that values function runs, you can just read the little paragraph up, but that's not relevant for now. You can go back to the code now. So we know the object.keys and values.
In this case, we need key.
key, not keys.
Yeah, just key if you want the first or the one. If it's just one object, not with multiple, you can just do key.
I think we can. I suggest if we want to solve this exercise, we can go from down to up, because I think this is the possible way to understand what we want to enter and what we want to retain. So from line,
it's, by the way, always keys. It's multiple. It's not key, but it's keys. It always gives you an array, even if it's just one element. So you have to take the first, but okay, continue.
So I think that here we need, since this is going to give us an array, we should use maybe sort or an array method and call these functions. First one, this one, and then the second one.
What's your goal with that array? So you get an array with the keys of the object, okay? So in this case, it would be badgers, cats, and goats, right?
Right.
I'm looking at the object on the left, by the way, for everyone. Okay, you get an array with those three. What is your goal with that array?
I guess we need to use them as a reference for this function to get from them the inner HTML and the href.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so you have the array with the three elements. Which one do you want, depending on what? If you see what I mean. So
I don't, that last part. Say that again.
Let's go back to the console in the browser and look at the expected result. Huh?
Yeah, that's maybe a good.
If you, okay. You have, if you scroll all the way, you always have the rendering the reference expected. And then if you click that open, if you expand the div.
This one?
A bit lower. A bit, no,
that
the expected,
one, yeah.
That one. And expand the UL and the LI. So always keep this in mind. We want to make sure that in the end, the code we're writing outputs this structure.
Yeah. So we want goats first, cats second, and badgers last. So maybe that's what I kind of meant. In what do you want with that array? You want to run it. So if you open the links, this is different.
It changed.
What the hell? Is this the expected or the actual?
This is the object. It actually changed the object.
Yeah, but there are multiple, maybe you have the array of
Yeah.
arrays of arrays. That's the first data element.
The one
but-
that you had opened before, yeah, the badgers thing. Let's get, no, not that one.
Not that one.
Right.
Okay.
At the bottom, and then this one.
I just kind of want to focus on one before it gets.
Okay. So,
Okay,
it's,
so we have-
badgers, cats, goats, and we need
goats, cats,
goats,
badgers.
badgers. So we need to reverse it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we want to do something with an array. I just said a lot about that. You want to iterate through it, I guess, no? Or if someone else has any other,
So this should be maybe reverse.
maybe. I'll not just give you the answers, but maybe it's possibility.
Okay.
Okay, we reverse that array, and then what?
Well,
Can I say something? It's
Go
not
ahead.
reverse. It's append to it to least, I think, because I think we want to go from the down from, yeah, to use the function in line 20, and the function in line 20 will use the function in line 10. So
Mhm.
it's something like this. I can imagine it. So we should use in line 26 here and 27. We should use functions from the
Yeah.
above one. So this
So-
is how I understand it.
So,
So for-
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, continue, Mahmoud. Just continue.
Yeah. So for example, the keys we take it from the links. We will use it to apply the function in line block between 20 and 23, and that function will apply also. It will not be 21. It will not be append child next li. It will be append child, and then in that in practice we want to apply again another function. So it's something like this.
So
This
yeah,
is the follow-up. I can imagine.
yeah. So what the line of thinking of Mahmoud is kind of the correct one. We don't really want to reverse it, although we see the order reversed in the expected. What we want to do is just iterate through it, and then you run the function through it, like the two functions that we still have to work on, and then it will kind of fall in place. And if it doesn't, we can still reverse it at the end. But what we want to do is iterate through it, not per se reverse it. And even if you reverse it, we still have to iterate through it. So that's why I didn't say it. But if you go back to the where you wrote reverse. Oh, that's where it was. Okay.
I think on line 26, you will need to call the entry to li methods on line 10. So not the sort one. Sort, forget the order of the elements. Let's first
Yes.
try to make. Let's first try to build the output. So we now have with object.keys, we say give me the list of all the keys in the links array, which will output an array that is just badgers, cats, and goats. And now for those three keys, we want to start building our HTML. So the first thing we want to do is not call, it's just entry to li. Instead of call, you type entry to li, I think. That's what I was not sure about. So if anyone has a better idea.
Entry through li is a function, yeah. And inside of that function, what do you give as parameter? Let's look at the function itself.
Next list.
Yeah.
No, wait, the entry. So the entry. So what is the entry? It should be the key. So you want to take you now have the three keys, but you want to give
The
the
key.
entire element, I think.
So
But I don't know how to do that.
No,
So
no.
it should-
yeah, that's what you want to give the key inside of entry to li, right?
Right.
To the Aviv. So we have the keys, right?
Yes.
And we want to iterate through the keys and give them to entry to li. If I understand well. If I'm wrong, just tell me. But now we have an array with all the keys, and we want to put them in entry to li one by one.
Wait, I think we just have to pass links data links again. Can you just put that
Could
one
be.
here? Because if you pass the entire array inside of the function, you will have an entry, and then you say get the entry with the key, and the key is passed. No, wait, then something's wrong. Can you scroll up a bit? Entry. So yeah, that's why I'm confused with this function. Should be, what is entry?
This entry to li is not something you wrote yourself. It was in the exercise because I can't find it locally.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just see. Okay. So let me just look at. Can you scroll down? The entry, it would be just a string of the key, right?
Yes.
So we have. I don't know why we put the dot entry to li next to the array, because now objects.keys is just an array. Okay, so that's how it was before, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So what you want to do is, I don't know. I would think it's iterate through every element of the data object.keys and then put them inside of the entry le, if you see what I mean. So what I was thinking is do I don't know, a for or something.
But wait, let's
Iterate.
think. The exercise was called map reduce. So I have a
Map, yeah,
suspicion.
you could do map. Yeah, that's for is just a big way to write a map. So go ahead. Okay, I was looking at the wrong exercise. Okay, now I have it open. Yeah. Remember what I told you about what to put inside of this is an array function that we're doing right now, map.
So you have to use a lambda function. It's like with
the array, the arrow, and the element that you name yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Then you do something with it, with that element. You put it inside of the function, I suppose. So the function that you want to call above?
So I thought we should call the first function here entry to li.
You can call it there, entry to li, and then brackets, and then la. You see what happens here, guys? Everyone understands line 26? There's no big responses, so maybe it will be clear later. Okay. Now that function runs, what happens after this? Let's think.
Then we should run the second function. And the next list should be the new UL that we're creating here. That should be this parameter.
Okay.
But then the first parameter, the list element, that should be, I guess, the next thing that we isolate from this, but I'm not really sure. If we already got the keys, and we already ran them through this, then what is the next thing? Is this another map, or that's the part I don't understand?
Document
should be the function, I guess.
So
And child to list. Maybe.
That's what I think too.
Um,
Append
append
LE
to
to
a
list.
list.
Yeah, so we append
It
a
should not
list.
be append to this so there, I believe. If you map it, then you have to reduce it
Yeah,
as well.
Oh.
Yep.
So
let me see. So
So if you
or
map
maybe
the
another
elements,
map. Okay.
there you can
Oh.
reduce.
Another map. Reduce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And can you Google what reduce does? How
Yes.
many parameters it takes? What kind of
I like that way of thinking. Reduce essentially reduces. It makes gives you one result out of an array. The second one, yeah. So if you have an array with numbers and you call a reduce on it and you add them up, it gives you the result of all of the elements added up.
it's
So
always takes
reducer,
two parameters.
Reduces walks through the array element by element at each step, adding the current array value to the result of the previous. So it runs a function and it adds up, for example, this is the most simple example, but there's a lot more. Every element with the result of the previous run, let's say. And then it gives you a result. So it gives you, from an array, it gives you an output of 1. Another array could also be.
I have a question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we have the reduce with numbers, but I don't know if we can do reduce methods with string.
Yeah, well, it is possible to do it with string, but yeah, why would yeah, it could be that there's no use for it there yet. Let me just see. Links map reduce. It is possible to do it with strings too. That's
Yeah,
how,
whatever
but,
it is you're attaching
Yeah.
to it. Is it an array? Is it inside an array? As long as it's inside an array, you can map or reduce that array.
Yeah.
So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, if you go to the exercise now, you're reducing it to yeah, basically to get some element in here and create it.
Yeah.
Right, some value in here. The first is a value. You get a value, and then you reduce it somewhere. I mean, you create a documents.create element UL.
Yeah.
You
So,
don't
yeah,
have to write like that, I don't think. It's just you have to pass a values somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So this should be
Append to list, maybe. Yeah, you can. The only function that you didn't call until now in that code is the append to a list, right?
Yeah. So the append to a list you have to call, yeah, like this. And then inside of the
and what will be my first argument?
val, I suppose. No. Real quick before we continue, everyone understand what map does, right? It makes an array itself. Maybe real quick, Google look it up inside of is a big repeat of what we already saw. If you just map the array prototype.map, or just scroll on the left side, you will find it too on the left side.
This one? Oh, in the array?
Yeah, there. Just look for map. Yeah, there. Underneath, yeah, above off. Yeah, so just know that yeah, it runs a method and it gives you back an array essentially. So here it edits every element of an array and gives you back another array. So just realize that. Okay, you can go back to the code. So we have map, we have reduce, and we understand what both of them do, right? Okay, now we run every key. We have an array of keys, and we map them, which means we get an array back. We run every key inside of entry to LE, and what the result of entry to LE, we put it inside of another array. Okay, that we understand. Now let's work out what's inside everything inside of entry.le. Maybe enter on line 11, put a new line and put in comments an array of keys. No, line, yeah, so above everything, yeah, so that we, and there you can do // and then there you can like kind of make an array of, yeah, I don't know if you have it open, but inside of there, there's an array of keys. So put inside badgers maybe so that we realize what we're looking at. Imagine there's badger, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. You don't have to write everything, but yeah. And it's strings, of course. Okay, so now, yeah. So until this, everyone understands it, kind of?
I have a question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
In line 27, the map
Yes.
method
Yes.
will give another array, and we want to reduce this array, or we want to reduce the first array.
Yes. So the map will make another array,
Yeah.
and after which we run a reduce.
Okay.
Which put it in, yeah, okay. So, but before we look at reduce, let's work out entry to LE. Okay, so we have the 3 keys there. Let's look what we have to do with them. Okay. So I'm not going to make the exercise for you guys. Okay, line 14. What happens? What does an inner HTML do?
So this is going to be the name of
Yes.
the list item, or
okay, that's good. What would
or
we
sorry,
want?
not the list item, the A tag.
The A, yeah, but the A is inside of the, yeah. What would we want there to be in there in your HTML? If you look at the expected, maybe.
We want to iterate between the different animals.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we know that we do iterate it to it because we have an array, but when the entry is not the array, it's just one of the array, by the way, just that you know, guys. You realize that, right?
Right.
So maybe put line 11 on line 9 above. Yeah.
911 on line 9. Okay.
9, yeah. Just there. And then, yeah, just once. And on line 11, so if you enter, yeah, I just kind of want to realize if you above line 12, you want to put like just badger in comment. Does everyone understand this?
Yeah, so it's gonna go through badgers first, then go,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
cat.
So, yeah. Okay. So now we can continue. What do we do with that badger? Where do we put it in? How do we fill the underscores? Maybe someone else and Aviv can give suggestions. Huh? We are with the entire group. Any volunteers?
I will say we can put badger in line 15.
15. What is badger in this case, Maurice? How?
Because it's the name of the inner HTML.
Yes, okay. But we want to put a badger in line 5. We can't just write badger. We have to write something there, right?
Ah, yes.
That would be
0.
entry.
Oh, entry.
Yes. I think, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
And well, what the entry is just the parameter of the constant of the function, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense, right?
Why
Okay,
is it entry and entry again?
Yeah, well, it's very annoying with the
The
brackets.
naming.
Maybe
Can we-
call the entry something else. Call it like the key or something.
Yeah,
On line 11, call it key.
Yeah, but still,
no,
it's-
no, not
I
there.
have a feeling something is wrong with the code, or we're missing something, because now
Yeah.
it will just be key. So
I don't think we want to run the keys. We think we want to run every element of
Yeah.
the object, not
Can you go
just the
back,
key.
Aviv? Do not delete the entry. Take out that one. What if it is dot key over there in the inner HTML? What do we need? The entries,
Dot key.
links, links parameter,
Yeah.
which is the key, right?
mhm.
What if it's the dot key and then the href will be dot value?
So that could be done, but right now not, because we're just giving the keys. So if you go down, we do the object dot keys. We don't want to remove that then, right? So if we on line 27, right now we're just giving an array of keys. If we just remove the object dot keys and just do links dot data.
No, that will be then object dot entries, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's correct. But the object dot keys is wrong then, line 27. Yeah. So you want to remove that, and then
Sorry guys, we are figuring
that's-
it out as we go also.
yeah,
right?
but this exercise is quite hard.
I,
I think. This
I
is
can
everything
delete
that
it, but that was in the original. We didn't.
it was in the original, so that's
Object dot
what they
keys.
want. Yeah, okay.
Keys
No,
was
not
the-
object that keys, object that blank.
Yeah.
So-
So entries then.
Entries. Let's
Sorry?
put entries instead of.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah,
My 27 object dot entries would it be maybe?
Object that entries.
Entries, multiple. Yeah. No, IES.
entries. Plural, right?
Okay, that
And
makes
then-
sense. The
It gives you the
parameters-
key and the value now. So that's what
This
what's
makes
the
sense.
difference.
Entries here will
Yeah.
give us the keys and the values.
Yes.
So
Total.
now-
So the inner HTML, if you go to the object, can we
15.
see the object, Aviv, on the console?
Yeah,
On
it's
the
there
browser console?
on the left. Yeah. So now you get badgers, double point. I mean, you get the entire object, not just badgers, but you get
Yeah.
badgers, and the link inside of an object.
Yes.
So now, if you go back to the code, instead of in the comments just putting badgers, paste what you just copied inside of badgers. Yeah.
So,
So
it
the
will
object is
be, it will be in
that,
in the inner HTML, you want to show the key, and then the link src and href, you want to show the value.
yes.
Can you
So-
get it, Aviv?
So entries is going to give me everything in
Yeah.
Yeah.
the key.
Hover over it and look at it. Hover over entries. Returns an array key values of the enumerable. So key value. So that's the point. You get every time the key and the value inside of an object. So if you go to line 20 to line 15, what would you want to put there?
This should be the entry, and we want just the name of the entry,
The
so
key.
not the href. So
You want
this
the
should
key,
be
yeah.
the key.
I don't know, the entry dot, not just key, yeah, but I'm saying the key as badgers. Don't just want to write key, I think, right?
It would work.
Yeah, would it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I don't know, yeah, could be.
We'll see how
Maybe I'm
it
wrong.
goes. So
Okay,
you
So-
put there a
And then the
badger.
href should be
value.
the value.
Your target. Yes.
Blank. 17. Line
Uh,
17. Target blank.
I
Okay,
don't think this will work since key and value are not defined anywhere, right? So
want me to try it?
Yeah, just try it. Let's
you
go
can
for
try
it.
it.
Let's see what it does.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Key is not defined in line 15.
Yeah, so you want the object.keys thing
I think dollar
around it, I
sign,
think.
maybe we can use dollar sign here. For the key.
Just take it out of the,
Yeah.
The entry dot key maybe, but I
Yeah.
don't know if that.
If this is going to be an array, maybe we can use the index.
then it will pass only that
No, that's
That
that's
or
that's not an
maybe
array. It's an object.
maybe.
So guys, it's just object dot value or object dot keys.
Yeah.
But yeah, inside of the array, yeah, of course. Fuck. I forget how they do it with the brackets. It's annoying that they want the brackets.
It's dollar sign, as I
Yeah,
remember, dollar sign key.
Yeah, it could be.
Dollar
Yeah.
sign value. And if you go back to entries from Mozilla, and you will find something like this.
Yeah. Okay, but let's try it. Let's try it. Let's run. Then we can look at the Mozilla if it works.
No.
Key is not defined.
Can I give
Okay.
you another suggestion, guys? Yeah, maybe just like entry, and then around it also remove the brackets. It will work, but I don't know what you want. If you just put like a
Make a
object
dot.
dot, yeah, dot maybe, yeah.
Try
Dot.
if can you access it? See if there is a value, if it comes with a do entry dot and then just write K, and then you can see if you can access the keys. Yeah.
I don't
No.
think,
No, it's not working.
What will work is just object dot keys and then entry inside of it and then the first element of it.
Yeah.
Just object dot keys, Aviv. Remove everything. Object dot keys.
That should be large
Dot,
letters.
yeah, dot keys, and then entry inside of brackets, and then the zero array next to it, next to the bracket. So on, yeah, there, yes.
Zero.
What if like
Zeroth element.
Aviv
This will
did-
work.
What
How
if
do I
like
do it?
Aviv did? Should we try it?
I need to add here after
Yeah,
the
just
bracket.
the array. So quarter brackets, like array brackets,
Okay.
and then zero, and this will work, I think.
Okay, should I change this to value?
Yeah, the same, but a value there. Values.
Yeah. Can you wait, Aviv? Can you curl Control Z one time?
Control Z, yeah.
And then do here entry brackets 1, and let's try that one.
Ah, yeah, like an array.
Okay.
Could be,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, it looks like
Passing.
we're getting somewhere, no more
Yeah.
error
Okay.
message. But
Yeah,
the
but he's
code is
getting
not
0.
quite what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Let's look at our,
What
So
if you- we can
So
see-
the first one is not working. The object.keys is not working.
Yeah, okay, so then do just zero then there.
Mm.
It's a weird way of doing it with
Yeah.
all right.
okay, it's getting better. Now
Good.
we have the first value. But we
Ah,
need,
how many
Now we
values do you need to have?
we need to have
find
all of them.
reduce. Go look at the code. The third one, the reduce is making it return only one of them. So I don't know if we really need that one.
So instead of reduce, it should be something else maybe.
Maybe try the reverse. Because we wanted to reverse them still. But no, wait, that won't tell you into this. Or
We
maybe
need
it
to
will-
call. We need to call the second function.
Ah, yeah.
We'll put every maybe.
Or map again.
Which one?
Go ahead and try map again, Francis. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's again map. Would be weird. No.
Fail to execute append child on.
Could you
no
try
function.
every? I'm just curious. I'm
Wait, I
not sure.
think maybe I wrote something wrong here. 31. Append parameter is not of type node. Okay, I don't know what that means.
You're
Right. So,
passing only one value inside
Mhm.
append to list. The list takes append to a list function is taking two values, right?
right.
Okay, it is passing two values.
So
The problem here, there's no, if you go to the index, open the index HTML, not in the Visual Code, yeah, here, you will see if you refresh this page. For me, I have, for example, the first one, for example, I have the first element in the list, but I don't have the other elements. So
Sorry,
Okay.
Alina has a
Yes.
solution
Oh,
for that.
Alina,
Yeah, Alina
I
has
think
a-
Alina solved it. All right.
Yes.
No, I don't solve this. I just did it by accident, and I'm not confident with this. So I need a double check.
You have some. Can you copy it somewhere, Aviv, that we
Yeah,
can
I'm
see?
going to drop it on this. Okay, so object entries, and we use
yeah.
map,
Sure.
then we use reduce. Append to list is the, so append to list is going to
She
be,
just called it. She didn't pass anything inside it though.
all right, let's see if this works. Nice.
So what was different
worked.
than what we had before? It looks almost.
So
She took
instead
out-
of calling the, Alina, do you want to explain it? You probably know it better.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I can't explain it clearly.
if you go up, she took out the entries.
Okay, yeah,
Over
those
there.
annoying. I like that. I like that way of thinking.
But she put it, oh, it's not out actually.
Yeah, It's
AE
just underneath
here
it.
she,
underneath
what
the
she
AE.
what she
let's-
did in reduce.
Yeah, she reduced append li
Yeah,
to the list.
direct,
She just
yeah.
called the list.
Yeah.
The first, this one is
Yeah,
just, yeah,
we
yeah.
in
It
Aviv,
appends each element.
Yeah. So let's just walk by it step by step of what happens. Maybe some people are a little bit lost. We start like, I think someone said start from beneath and then go up, which makes sense because that's how this exercise is structured. I will talk to it, and if I say something wrong, just call me out. So we have object.entries, which goes inside of the array, which is above, which is the badges thing, and it takes every object instead of just the keys or just the values. It takes the entire object of the array elements. Everyone understands that? So Aviv, if you can open the link objects on the browser, maybe then on the left in the browser, open like an object, the badgers, maybe object, yeah, something like this. So if you open the links, this is what we go through. We go to the links and we get badgers and then the link, for example, and we iterate through that every element. So the line, not just badgers, not just the links, everything, the object. Okay, if you go back to the code. With that object, we go inside of entry to LE. So we take an element and we go to entry to LE. If you can go to the entry to LE method, Aviv. Okay. So inside of this entry to LE, we make a list item and an A, right? To HTML, you remember those? And inside of that A, we put, what do we put? We put the badger, so the key of the object, right? And inside of the we give that badger string, we give it a link, an H reference. You guys remember that too from the HTML? And that H reference would be the value of that object, would be the link next to, yeah. Right. Until here, does everyone understand what happens?
So this give us an array with
Yeah.
the badger as the first
Yes.
value
Yes.
and the href as the second.
So that's that's just
Make it
simply
a little
what's,
bit.
yeah. Yes, yes, a double point, not just a comma.
Yes.
Yeah.
And double points like this.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But you see,
Like this.
that's there. Yeah, perfect. So that's what happens here. We just put the value of badger as the text and the link of the link as the link as a H reference, and then we do a blank. That's just open a new tab and we append that and we return it. That's all that happens here. Okay, everyone follows here?
Yeah.
So how many times do we do the entry to?
For every element inside of the links.
Yeah, it was just a
Be
question.
3 times. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you didn't know. Okay. So guys, how many times do we? Sorry, Maud, I didn't see that you were okay.
Yasin, I have a question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't understand line 22, the append child that we are putting.
Yeah. So the LIEL, that would be the list elements, would be that we create there, and we append the A, so the A element that we just created with the link and the string to it.
Yeah, thanks.
That's all.
Okay,
Okay.
for references, can you please see objects, object entries, object keys,
yeah,
and object values? And then for the arrays, like Yasin said, map, reduce, and what was the other? Find those arrays.
Yeah.
So please combine them with your studies and try to do something like this. Try to reverse engineer whatever it is here.
This is quite a complicated exercise, but if you can understand everything that's in here, you're up to level. By the way, you are good if you understand what happens here. So
what I don't understand fully in what's happening here in line 33. So we feed this function, and I guess I understand the second value next list is this, but then the first value is that what we got from like the badgers. Like what goes as the first argument in this function?
The element that you mapped on the page. Basically,
it's just a follower. You could put like the line, maybe you can put everything on one line, but you map it and then you reduce the entire map, and the elements inside of that map is the list L. So maybe this makes more sense, but it's less readable, by the way. Certainly for me. It's just the element of the map itself, Aviv.
The element from the map itself. That's
not what you just hovered up, the result of it when you finish it.
Right. So
it is the LIEL.
LIEL.
Yeah.
The list EL.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it now. Kind of.
Okay.
But I'm happy that this was a challenge for everybody, not just me.
Let me just give you I will give you the relevant links to solve this exercise on your own. So the object.values and keys and stuff. And I would suggest you guys look at it.
Actually, this kind of exercises like this array methods are going to come again and again with the other modules that you're going to do after this. So I suggest that you get familiar with it and get used to how to use them as well. And also objects, the object methods as well.
Yes. So that's why why I was doing this short intro. They will come more and they use more complicated code. So it's more complicated than just doing a small thing, but at least they are more interesting, I think, more challenging. So this is the links that I'm doing in the chat is for keys and values. This just to get an area of the keys and the values. And then we also have entries, and that we just saw in the exercise. I'll just put every link in the chat anyway. So I will go through them and you can copy paste them in the exercise yourself.
Okay, now we go back to Francis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me share my screen. The next subject is the testing testing components. Let's see. Let me remove. So this was the start, I believe. Just a second. Yeah, okay, so that was how we started. How I interpret these exercises is we're going to try to understand what the tests do. So this is a sort of reverse engineering of the tests that were already written, and we have to write the logic that will be tested. So I will open this in the browser. If I can find it, rendering testing components. So we have the game board one. We open the HTML and we see the argument that is being passed, but we want to make sure we output this this array of values. So let's go to our tests. And here we're describing what the test is. We also pass the board data. We want to validate that eventually when the logic is executed, we get this value. Or no, this is the data, I mean. So this is not, the output will be an HTML document, but this will be based on this data. So when calling the game board function, so which is still empty for now, we will test this one. So in the test logic is in this function. So based on this, I sort of reverse engineer. We will now reverse engineer what we want to return, what the game board function needs to return. So first of all, we see there's a table that will be built. So that's a HTML tag table, which will be where the X's and O's go into. So first of all, let's go here and put documents dot create elements with the name table. Of course, let's take this as a variable. Okay, so since we will need the table, that's the first thing we did. And then we see in the loop, there will be checks that there are rows in those table and columns. So in HTML, that corresponds to TR and TD elements. And then every TR and TD elements should correspond with the data we put in. So there's multiple types of tables. We have the one with O's and X's. We have just empty strings. We have one with some letters. When those are put in, the test will check that the HTML table has each element in that table is present. Let's see, expect tag name, child element counts. Okay, then here, so that's what this does. So you take the inner text of the HTML, and it has to be equal to the corresponding value from the arrays. So yeah, what we want to do then is taking the array of arrays, which is the, as we saw, it is the, where is the call? In here, I mean, no. The game board, yeah, so we pass it here, and we pass the value here, which is just in the test. It's of course also using this to eventually to check if the values are correct. So let's go back. So as I said, we have the array with all the values, but it's it has two. It's an array inside of an array. So first we do a for each of every line, which then I will call it parent array. And for every row, we will take, we will elements in that table. Documents, no. Let's create elements. And it's a TR element, as we saw before. And for each TR element, we also have to add the columns. So for each, it's now we take the parent array, and for each element in the parent array, yeah, element is okay. Then for each element, we this will be the X or the O. We have to add a column element, or yeah, the element. So TD element is document create element. TD, and then we have to set the value of this to the element itself. I think, wait, let me think. Yeah. And then, of course, we have to append to the row. We have to append every column value. Appends child D element. And in the end, we also, of course, want to take the TR, every row needs to be added to the table itself. Okay, so If we run this one, then nothing happens. Did I miss something?
I forgot
No.
to save.
Ah, yeah, maybe. No. Ah, yeah, of course. So it did not return a DOM element. As you can see, the function is just being called and it's creating all this stuff on the DOM. But for the test, we also need to return this. At the top, you see it returns the HTML table element. So if we then return the table elements, now I failed to save. Okay, that's weird. Overwrite. Okay. Now no more errors, and now you see visually what was printed here. You can see it's a table with 3 rows, and every row has 3 columns. And does this correspond with the input data? OXX, XXO, OXO. Okay, so that's and yeah, of course, it's multiple. It's in a loop for every input data. Let's see if the other ones are correct. Yeah, of course, a lot of empty strings are just going to show a blank space. Let's see if we can see if it actually is something. Yeah, okay. It's a row with 2 empty strings. Very, very interesting. And then the last one is the play ball one. Yeah, you can see. Again, it will be click run it. You can see it's the same structure. Okay, maybe I went over this quite fast, but the idea is just always start with looking at the spec.js, which contains the logic for testing. In this case, it's a test game board. And look at what exactly is being tested here. Maybe also take some time to look at the syntax, like the expect and to equal. I think you've seen that before, but I'm not sure. And yeah, most of them are just using that syntax to do the tests themselves. Are there any questions? Okay, then in our remaining time, which is not very long, maybe everyone can try one of the exercises.
Yeah.
Is this a good idea? We have like 15 minutes if they have any questions, because it's the last day
yeah.
of separation of concern. If you have any questions regarding this module, this is the right time to ask it. If it's regarding the homeworks that you have, yes, Ali. Or any other
Yeah,
questions.
exactly. I wanted to ask about the group assignment. It's
yeah,
pretty clear description from the deliverable and the module, but if you can say a little bit about it, just
what's your question? I will pause the recording, I guess.